I was gonna say, okay, so we're calling the Recreation Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, March 4th, 2025 at 7:04.
Sorry,
Travis, do you have a question?
I'm trying to record it, but I didn't realize. I think we're already doing that. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, it's already recording. Yep, you're good.
Hi, I'm back.
That's
Hey.
okay. I knew I saw you for a split second there.
Yeah, I was trying to join on my iPad and it wasn't going to happen. So here we are. It's very flat.
A few. The first thing up is just general. First of all, public comment. I don't think we have anybody from the public here, so I think we are a-okay on that front.
No, isn't there one attendee, Mary Ann Anderson?
Yep.
Oh yeah, my good catch.
No problem. But it doesn't sound like any. Oh, never mind.
There we go. Sorry, it took me a hot minute. Mary Ann, can you speak? Are you
She might not have anything to say.
She's declined, so I guess she is just listening in.
That's cool.
Fair enough. Before we get into the meat of it, the first thing that we had on was just some general department updates. Some fun things. Since we last spoke, our spring summer registration kicked off, which was great. I think in the first night of the registration process, we took in over 500 registrations. It was roughly a little over 100 transactions, and I think it was a little over $100,000 in one night. All while trying to wrap up the Trotter Ski Club, which was it all wrapped up well, but I think it was a terrific night one. So I think spring summer has really kicked off, and so we're excited on how that's kicked off. So that's some good news from the program front for the summer. Summer's shaping up well. And then again, this is a big thank you to Tim. Before Tim left, he nominated Rec Connect for the Regional Community Impact Program of the Year for the Central Region, and we actually won it. So we are going to be going, me, Laurel, and Allie, the Northborough Recreation Director, Laurel, the Shrewsbury Recreation Director, are going to go and accept the award on Wednesday on the first night of the MRPA State Conference, which is Wednesday, I think the 18th or 19th. So it's a couple weeks away. So parting gift from Tim.
Nice.
Rock star. So you're very
excited. That is awesome. Jen, Amelia, I'm not like familiar, but was Johanna pretty involved in that? Like, is that something we should?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we should email her and let her know. Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know if she can go or what, but I think she was, you probably know better than I, but I thought she was pretty instrumental in that.
Yeah, I think she she chatted with Tim a bunch about it and like gave him ideas and stuff like that and gave him some context. So yeah. Yep.
So
That's
we are excited, and I can definitely share the details with Joanna. We just found out like a week ago. So
nice.
Awesome.
I'll share the details with the commission. We just got that last week, so I'll shoot it to everybody so they can actually see it as well. So a bit of good news before we get to the meat of the meetings. Those the
Can I give them one more, like, just kudos? Ryan just concluded his last rap ever, which is so sad to me. 8th grade, but he did the ski with Trotter, and I just think it was awesome. I mean, you guys had very cold nights, and where some schools canceled at least twice, I think.
Yeah.
You guys persevered, and the kids still had an amazing time. Like, apparently they don't get cold. I don't get it. But just great program all around. You guys pulled it off, 2 full buses. Just my cool 8th grade son who's like, I don't know if this is gonna be all 7th graders, like, loved it. So thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had Belinda and Dave did an awesome job. We couldn't have taken 2 buses without them taking it on. They actually loved it so much that they're talking about reviving the Neary one and doing Ski Ward and doing like a younger one. So there might add to it next year on do a different day. But yeah, the kids, on the cold days, there was definitely a lot of the hanging out in the lobby and eating at the snack area. Not a lot of skiing had, but still fun nonetheless.
But they love that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Thank you. It was a great program.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Anybody else have any general program department updates? Sounds good. The next one was more old business. And the first one on the old business docket is our favorite subject, Lundblad/dog park update. So this is a tricky one. We're kind of at a obviously we're a holding partner. I know everybody has to feel like we've discussed this at length, but we did have I'm trying to think of a way to put this. We did have a meeting. I was able to connect with Bill Cundiff from DPW. We did connect with DEP, and I don't know if we're ever going to get a letter from them, and I'll try to figure out what's the best language to use to say this. I don't know if they'd ever put that out there formally. That in the we're in with, we obviously can't track down the CQA, which is the certified or the completion qualification assurance paperwork document binder. So we're kind of in a holding pattern of what to do next.
Yeah. So this one here, Travis and I talked about this one a little bit. So we don't have that certificate of completion, and we do not have a certificate to authorize use up there. And the only path there is, in my personal opinion, there is not a clear path forward that I want to pursue. I feel like we've learned a ton about this and researched it to death. So my proposal to the commission is that I think we should, in one concise document everything we know, everything we tried, and the current status as of today. But then I also think as a commission and department, we should no longer be permitting that field. And I'd like to kind of turn this a little bit back over to select board in the town and being look, we don't have the certificate closing it. We don't have the certificate to authorize use up there. So we should not be permitting and collecting fees on this. I view this as more of it is a open parcel of land in town. People can go up in there and use it, but I don't feel like it should be on the roster of available space for rec to use and be putting sports groups up there if we don't have all this in place. And I also think that the decision to attempt to go down the path of getting all of this reestablished is very expensive. And it kind of feels like it should be a bigger decision than just rec. So that's why my thought was let's document it all, because we did a lot of work on this and I don't want it to just be forgotten and have somebody else 10 years from now try to figure it out. But then I kind of want to bring it to select board and be I feel like the commission has taken this as far as it can by ourselves. And now it becomes what would they like to do? Do they want to partner with us on this? Or what is the path forward? Or do we just kind of put a bow on it and leave it there on the shelf until later? So I kind of wanted to get some thoughts or feedback on that before we actually do anything, but I'm not sure what else we can do.
In addition to some more context too, in addition to the CQA, we are having some difficulty finding the post-permit application from the first time the landfill closed. So initially, when you obviously capped the landfill, you would have gone through some sort of post-permit application process with DEP to make it a field. We're not having some difficulty finding that as well.
I mean, that all makes perfect sense. Would we keep whatever nets we have up there for overflow?
I think it's fine. It's perfectly fine and healthy and safe to be used.
Yeah.
But I just feel like as a rec department,
yeah,
we shouldn't be charging fees and we shouldn't be permitting it.
Yeah.
So I feel but then also when we look at
you said makes perfect sense. I guess
and then
I would
when we look at
request that we just leave some nets up there, because I think they are our nets. I'm not sure.
I can definitely look into that. I know
Yeah.
the primary user right now is the middle school group that uses it for practice, and it is tested annually. So I don't know if the cap's failing. This is just a formality.
Didn't we find out, Jen, though, at least for, I mean, this is actually a few years old, but soccer was using it maybe as spillover quite a bit. I could be wrong. I mean, that was a few years ago.
I think I'd have to look. This is my first spring going through it. So I think from what I remember from the fall
Yeah.
that the main user is, I know that soccer might have it permitted, but they're blanket permits.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to say like who's there, who's not, but every time that I've gone through and observed it and talking to Christina as well, it seems that the middle school has a lot up there for their soccer.
Yeah.
I
The
think
only
it was
other,
getting, I think it was getting more use, Kristen, when Calander was being
that makes sense.
right?
That makes
So that's
sense.
when there was more spillover. And I know like there's some like ad hoc groups that will jump up there to like captain's practices or things like that that are
Yeah.
kind of like informal, which are fine. So I think it can be fine as a space like that. I think the biggest thing for me is that when we look at available space for sports and fields, I kind of want this off our roster.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. The only other thing I'll say, just kind of supporting what you're saying, is that, you know, with these near school project discussions, obviously that is a huge source of concern to some people. So it's kind of like every other decision in town. Can we even make any decisions until we figure out that decision? Because if people push back that they're concerned about putting a school there because of its location, you know, being that close to the landfill, well, then what kind of issues would anyone run into trying to repurpose it for anything? So I just think it just adds to your argument completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, if he's watching, I do feel we're very fortunate. Bill's been a terrific ally through this whole process. I know he's been great, and we're very fortunate that he's got a really good relationship with the DEP, so we can actually have these conversations with him and DEP. So he's been terrific through this whole process. I know he's trying to advocate for us, but now it's kind of at that point where it's what do we do next?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So to Jen's point,
I guess I mean like maybe Dawn and Rachel, thoughts?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, I hear what you're saying, that, you know, it's safe, we use it, but from a liability perspective, I'd be concerned if anything were to happen that would be an argument, you know, that would be an issue, even though it wouldn't come up in the context of like an environmental issue, just in the context of there being some sort of liability or something happening on the field, it could be an issue. And I would think that it wouldn't be smart to continue to permit it from a liability perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't disagree, Jen. I just think the whole thing's frustrating, and I don't see us having access to that field at any time in the near future.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's, the amount of money it would cost and like even just to test it, but then also testing it requires puncturing that rubber lining.
It's just another environmental issue in town that wasn't
right. And then the minute
you
puncture that lining, like God knows what will happen. So like I don't feel like feels like above our pay grade. I don't want to take on that responsibility of a decision there. So
where do we stand on I imagine you've been keeping them in the loop, Travis, on this through.
Yeah, I did have a conversation briefly with Mark and told him that, and Bill as well, telling him what we're possibly thinking about doing, and I was going to talk to the commission tonight about it. So they're aware. I think Bill has said the same things that you have said about puncturing the cap, and that's and the standards that were 30 years ago. If you tested it now with current standards, it unfortunately probably highly likelihood it would not pass. And again, he's just going at it from a risk reward perspective as well. So it's he's kind of left the ball in our court as far as what happens next.
Well, it's time to kick the ball out of the court because it's not our court.
Yep.
So I'm fine with that. I mean, shoot, it's a bigger issue for whatever project they want to do over there, because if it's not good enough for us to be able to use, then that opens up another can of worms.
Is there a vote we need to take to say we move this in front of the select board for decommissioning for recreation use or something along those lines? Because to your point, Jen, it is important to remove it from our roster because the
it's
whole
a huge parcel of
land.
land.
Yeah,
it's huge. I kind of think maybe, I mean, Travis, you and I can start documenting everything. I'm kind of thinking we get that document drafted. We can send it around for everyone to read. And like next time we like vote to approve it, like kind of like to the best of our knowledge, this is accurate. and then I think we send it over to select board.
I mean, that we also have to either jointly or however, but like DPU is the one who's, I think, is responsible. So I don't, again, as you said, it's not our responsibility to make sure that the cap or whatever the thing was
Yep.
done properly, right? So if it's I think it's their purview, right? We're just like, so we're the customer.
Yeah.
And so like in the end, I think it needs to bubble up, and maybe you guys have to figure out how you want to bubble it up. But it should be bubbled up and shared. And I think you've done that with Mr. Purple. So however it needs to be communicated, like I just want to make sure it's like it's not anything that either recreation has done or hasn't done. This is a facility issue.
Yeah, and I would even say like it's also like I don't know if anyone that is around right now was around when this was handled,
Yeah, no, it's the same.
25
Honestly, it's
years ago,
eerily
right?
similar. It's eerily similar to the dump issue, right? Like it's
Yep,
the
exact same
problem.
thing. Or like, and we've run into this several times on rec where like there was this weird time period in town where stuff didn't get documented and didn't get done properly, and we're paying the prices now as we kind of pull back those onion layers. But yeah, okay, so we'll draft that up and then share it around, and we'll try to take a vote on it. Yeah, like next meeting to be able to send that over to them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, that works.
Sounds good. This was kind of, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you.
What was I?
Should we take it? Should we just take the field off the list? I don't know that. I
Yeah.
don't know that requires a formal vote. Like
No. I think it just means like so we don't permit it going forward.
right.
Like
I mean, just
that can be a decision we make. Yeah.
it's done. I mean,
Issued some spring permits for Lumblat, but I'll go back and double check. Do you want to do it effectively immediately, or do you want to do a fall of 2025?
why wouldn't you do it
I
immediately?
think we should do it now.
Okay, fair enough.
We just
Did
said
you
we don't
say-
have it. Like,
Sorry,
Yeah.
did you say you thought we did have some, or we don't?
I don't think we do. I got to look at youth soccer. They do such a very large blanket permit. I can't remember off the top of my head what Eric had submitted for youth soccer. I don't think Lumblat was on there, but I can talk to Eric about it. And if they use it, it's minimal, if that.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. You can say to Eric, like, we're not permitting it. Doesn't mean that it's not safe to use if you need to use it. And that's why I asked, can we keep, I don't know if, I think there are nets versus Southborough's nets. Like, can we keep whatever nets are up there?
Yeah. Done.
Thank you.
Do you have to take a vote to pull those effective immediately, or is that?
no, we're just telling you not to permit them. I think
Yeah, I think it's
Fair enough.
fine. Yeah.
So
Sorry.
one quick question. This won't affect, it'll still get mowed because the town has to mow it anyways, right?
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like it's a grass field.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I just want to make sure there's no like direction to the town to stop. Okay. Not that
Nope.
they would or should.
And
just
we
making
weren't
sure.
doing anything special up there anyways for the
Right.
field. So yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Good stuff. All right. We'll work on that. All good for that one?
Yep.
All right. The next one's going to be ongoing. The 25,000 that we have for capital for field maintenance. Andrew did submit something last week for $1,185.80 for fertilizer for Trottier track infield from Tom Irwin. I can't remember if we have to vote to use that, or is that something I just need
We
to?
do.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll make a motion to approve that expenditure for fertilization of Trottier track infield from our field revolving fund.
Field,
Field maintenance fund.
field capital fund, field maintenance fund.
second.
All right, roll call vote. Hanson, yes.
O'Day, yes.
Lavelle, yes.
Dumont, yes.
Yeah, and then because I believe the warrant actually says that the commission will kind of govern it, similar to the way that it's worded for revolving fund. So
Cool.
I'm a little
And you-
behind. Is Andrew the new Chris for our fields?
Chris is still there.
Yeah.
Andrew is our field guy.
Does Andrew love our fields? Like we
And so Andrew is the reason why we have some beautiful fields. He puts a lot of love and care into our fields. Yes.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a great former golf maintenance guy. So he
There you go.
loves grass fields. He's the right man for the job.
Yep.
Yeah, you had me at golf maintenance. We're good.
The next update we have will be from Kristen. It's for the 21 Highland Street committee update.
I took that out because I'm kind of listening into the select board slightly too. So I sent you guys the report. You may not have seen it. I'm not planning on going through it tonight, but I did pass it on as an FYI. It's an interim report, right? Most people know that the committee got a slow start. We won't debate why or who. But we've met several times and we agreed that the first part of our tenure would be current state assessment, not what we could do, what we should do. Let's just, what are we dealing with right now? And so we've made a lot of progress there. I won't go into detail. The report, I assume we handed it into the select board in accordance with the July 28th deadline. It went in this weekend. I'm sorry, February 28th deadline. It went in this weekend. The reason why I'm half listening is I don't know, it's not on their agenda, but in case they say anything, I assume we would be posting it to our 21 Highland Future Use committee page. I think the main messages coming out of it were, one, the building is actually initial assessment in pretty good shape and not a money pit. So we have additional plans to kind of formalize those assessments. I mean, that was with the facilities manager, and certainly we want him to sign off formally, but we've also got some other offers for some other feasibility studies or independent structural architectural reviews. And then we just laid out our plan for the next few months. Obviously, a lot of people question the point of this committee, given that everything rides on, and we emphasize that on the outcome of the NERI project and, well, the NERI school and Finn school project decisions, although NERI school is the only thing that will be decided on in the upcoming May 10th and May 13th ballot. We did want to emphasize, though, that there should be a dependency on those decisions, on those, the outputs of those discussions on any decisions made. In the meantime, we will be working over the next few months to now share the information that we've been gathering with the public, have tours of the building, and then solicit input for a variety of different uses from, and it's all outlined in the report, from leasing to community use to sale, nonprofit housing. You know, we will consider all things brought to the table and do an initial assessment, develop our own recommendation criteria, and then post, obviously, whatever happens in those meetings, make a recommendation. The report itself is due June 30th. Again, I think we have to see what happens in the next few months. It's very volatile in terms of what our town's needs will be, what our budgets will be, et cetera. So again, I forwarded the report on to the commission. It should be published. I would assume that if we get no feedback, I assume we'll publish it this week. The committee signed off on it, or all approved it. So that is where we're at. And, you know, I'm working with Travis, and Jen was copied as well, on kind of a formal request to outline recreation's current usage. Again, we're in the current state analysis and making sure people understand what's going on there today. You know, we're unbiased. We just want to understand what's happening today, so we understand what would need to be there in the future. Travis, I have not found anything in the past.
I've started. I can't find anything, and Tim's emails are shared drive, so I'm just going to start fresh, which is fine.
And I'm happy to come in and spend like an hour with you brainstorming.
A lot of it's on my registration system that we have. It's also facility scheduling system, so a lot of that information I could just pull out of that. So that's a super useful tool for collecting all that information. So
I think so. Yeah. And then if you get, like I said, we're looking for the data analysis in the March timeframe. And so, you know, if you get us something and we have follow-up questions, we can always do so. I think we covered the main points, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping to see you by next week.
Thank you. Any questions?
I had two thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
One was like the tour of the building. Just thinking that I know we keep offering this up for like different committees, and it's hard to people take it up. Would you guys like video a tour? Could someone go through with like their iPhone, just like video a tour of the
I think
building
that's a
and
great
talk
idea.
about it, right? Like,
Yeah,
because then you could post it online and just get so much more accessibility to it.
I think that's an
Um,
awesome idea. I actually, now that you say that, we had such a great tour by John. And it was
yeah,
like us and a couple people from the public, but it was really interesting.
right. Like, so to like see if you can do it again in video at this time, I think that would be great.
I
So,
love that idea.
and then I did
We're
read
getting
it.
modern.
So the one comment I had on the write up that you guys were submitting is that just to make it really, really clear, there's a comment in there about like the fact that this is like the only playground south side of town, right? Not in school property, and that we need to keep it or move it. We need to be really clear that we can't physically move playground equipment, but we could find a new location potentially to install a new playground. Because I
Yeah,
know
that
that's something that I had chased down for the last couple committees, because like legally and we cannot move equipment. Once like we can remove it and get rid of it, but we cannot donate it. We cannot, it gets trashed if that playground gets
that's a
moved. Yeah.
excellent point, and it's something that's actually in our committee charge. And if you actually look at our 21 Highland
Okay.
future, if you look at our 21 Highland future use page, the opening paragraph actually needs to be amended too, because there's some inaccurate information in that. So
Okay.
I think we didn't prioritize it because we need to get the report in, but I think we plan on in a future meeting, probably our next meeting, requesting updates to that page and possibly the charge, because there is some information that
Okay, I was unclear. Like when I first read it, I thought it was all a charge, and then I realized it was a report. And then, but yeah, so
the charge was in quotes, but
gotcha.
to your point, if you go out
Yeah.
to that page, the first paragraph kind of notes that the building's in like disrepair and is going to need to be decommissioned or something. And I forget what
Yeah.
it is, but we're
Okay.
like, oh, wait a second, we first impressions mean a lot. We need to formally
Yeah.
request that be
Okay.
updated. So we'll that's a great point, and we'll maybe either include that in the report or also request that we update the charge, either or.
To clarify that. Cool.
But thank you. That's a great point.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Cool.
Great update, Kristen.
Thank you.
The next update I have, I think I put capital on there. I don't really have a ton of capital updates other than what we talked about last time. The Cho Turf's off the table for this capital cycle. I think we all knew that, and we talked about meeting after town meeting to discuss how we're going to go about it next year. I know the $20,000 for park maintenance has been there, so I think from that standpoint we're okay for next year. Anybody, Jenny, have any other updates? I can't think of anything else.
Well, so the only other thing about I think we had forwarded over the for Choate Field.
Yeah.
CPC funds are now off the table. That was the email we forwarded around that
yeah,
there was a lawsuit that was, I don't know if it was won or lost, but basically deemed that you cannot use CPC funds to like prepare the field or prepare a ground that is then going to have turf on it. Basically, yes. CPC funds are not supposed to be anywhere near turf, which is different than what it was when we went down this path. So like that's a lot of money no longer on the table.
Yeah, I think Ben followed up with an email that I think he copied us on and made it sound like we'll fight for you, but it didn't sound like was. I
mean, like, and this also, I mean, we also did connect directly with our CPC consultant contact at the state, who basically said you shouldn't go near this.
It's funny, Shrewsbury, Don, I don't know if you remember, but they definitely had CPC funds involved, right?
Most of them have. A lot of them have. I think it was North Andover. North Andover got sued and lost.
I can send the write-up to everybody.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I throw out there, and this is probably more for brainstorming, is like, obviously we wouldn't be able to fundraise that much. So we either, to your point, table it, or how do we we probably have to do it informally. Are there people in town that would want to? There's a lot of passionate sports fans. We have some professional, there's some people in town who have an interest, right, in sports and soccer. It's like, do we just ditch it for now, or is there any way to informally feel out if there are people in town that would want to donate towards a turf field? Because it would be such a huge asset in that location.
Yep.
And I don't know how you do that. So that's why I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we'd have to be buttoned up before we approach people like that. Because if we approach with a half-baked idea and then
Yeah.
it takes us 2 years to create a nonprofit, like they're gone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, good point. So, but I guess then to that end, what would be the next? Because to me, that's the most feasible option right now. It seems like such an opportunity. I hate to just abandon ship. So even if it's a slow roll, like
Yep.
what's our next step for that slow roll?
So I actually know what the next step is.
Oh,
Our
great.
next step is basically Travis and I had a meeting with Kathy from select board, Andrew from advisory. Wait, no. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Capital.
Jason.
Jason from Capital, yes. And what I walked away with is that we need to convince them that Choate is the one and only and best location to have this in. Otherwise, they're not behind it. So the request was like, I feel like we'd have to go document everything we've done to date to prove and build the business case. So this is a location. That's our next step, to get all of them and then their boards respectively behind this.
I mean, that's been done. There's only
Step
three
one, lights.
places. There's only 3 places you could probably fit
Yeah.
it. One of them we just took off the board. And the other one, they will never get lights in Erie. So like it's
Yep.
like, and we've already proven you can fit it into
Yeah.
Choate. So like,
So we got Travis and I got peppered with lots of questions about, did we approach the private schools? Did we see if there was other land we could buy? Did we look at this?
We
Like,
absolutely. So this is where I
so
come in and
all
provide some
things like
background.
we've
Because
done.
do you remember Colin Hines and I? Like we had
Oh, I know.
extensive discussions with
We've
Faye.
done all the things. There is not a pebble in this town we have not turned over to try to solve this. But they want it documented.
Yep,
right?
nope, that's fair.
So
and the only other thing I guess I would say is like, I mean, our partnership with Faye was like shut down hard because remember we were looking at the Faye field for a while, but that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
So we probably need to refresh those.
Yeah. Yep. Not to circle back to Ben with the CPC, but yeah, Ben, I don't know why he copied, and Jen, I'll send this to everybody in the commission. Yep. He copied me and said that it's still a possibility after the CPC coalition had said stay away from. So I think maybe we put it in and let them make the decision. I wouldn't rule it off the table yet.
I guess I've never seen the CPC do anything that goes against the coalition. So fair. I just worry we'd be wasting our time, Travis.
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
Yeah. But so so I think that, I mean, we need support from these other committees in town to be able to move this forward. Otherwise it's just like an uphill battle. So my thought is like, that's the first step. And then yes, we need to spin up a nonprofit that will fundraise for this and get that fundraising going.
I'll document the former discussions and efforts we made with Faye. And I know that we talked to St. Mark's at some point because they were like interested in using our field if we bought it.
Yeah.
Just as a starting point. And then I think if we were to want to just revalidate that, we'd obviously have to go to the select board. They'd want to go with us.
Yep.
For any discussions with them. Yep. So maybe that's one immediate next step.
Yep. Yeah.
And Don, I think we documented our discussions with Shrewsbury too at some point in minutes or something. So we can pull that as well.
And I think you even have a deck that you guys wrote in our file. So we'll have to look for that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of pulling them back together. And then probably like a laundry list of FAQs, like all the crazy harebrained things we chased down. Let's write it down to get credit that we did it all. So yeah.
Makes sense.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. What else?
So do meet post town meeting to framework what that'll look like for next year, maybe like June, May after town meeting, try to figure out.
Yeah, or maybe that's when we try to aim to have a conversation with these
Okay,
chairs again.
perfect. All right. That's it for capital. Thank you for the reminder about the CPA. That was an important one. Yeah. Tricentennial Committee. This is just one I'm going to keep on there until obviously it's a couple years out. But they're nailing down how they're going to amplify and what they're going to do for events throughout the year during the Tricentennial year. One of the events that they've kind of honed in on, and I've been in a couple meetings, is Summer Nights and possibly throwing more money into that event for the one Tricentennial year. One of the things that they'd like to maybe explore, and there's a couple, and one of the things that Don has brought up as well, is a possible drone show for a fireworks replacement for that year. They haven't obviously committed to anything. They're still feeling stuff out, but want to keep everybody. There's obviously a much more, it's a much more costly option. The drone shows tend to be 4 or 5 times more than what we pay for fireworks. But they are very keen on having it. We're going to have a Tricentennial meeting next week, which they've invited me to go to. So I'll keep everybody in the loop. But they're looking to maybe amplify some key community events, Heritage Days, Summer Nights, concerts. And this is one of the things that they were looking to possibly contribute for next 2 years out. So
Can I be old fashioned? I know we've discussed this before,
yes.
but what about like people who just like fireworks?
Yes, it's definitely becoming more prevalent for celebration community events, but the fireworks is still an option. I
It's
think,
such a huge success every year. I don't know.
yeah, it's a tough one. So whatever decision they make, obviously I'll bring it to the commission so we can obviously have a say if we will be willing to accept it. But yeah, I think I think they did some community engagement and feedback, and there was some feedback on a non-firework option for any vets that might have PTSD or dog issues or whatever it might be. I know. So whatever decision they make, obviously I'll keep everybody in the loop. And when they firm up stuff, I will bring it back to the commission for everybody to talk about, bat around, and decide.
Thank you.
No problem. Dale Hall parking. I don't have an update. That's still ongoing, but I'm going to try to get an update for hopefully spring, summer, because I know people are probably going to be parking there for playground.
Yep.
New business and Kristen, another update. CPA update. Sorry, we should have stacked you back to back.
It's okay. There's not a lot from a recreation perspective, honestly, to update on, because we don't have anything in this year's warrant. The big, just as an FYI, not really related to rec, I think the most controversial item is whether or not the new housing authority committee would like to sweep all existing housing CPA funds just over to them. So we're working through that now. I think it all depends on, they kind of, obviously there's a lot of concerns on just giving free range to the $500,000 or $600,000 there to a small group of people, because CPA guidelines are very strict on having to have specific projects, etc. So long story short, the new committee came together. It's great, it seems to be a great committee. They kind of reduced the number of 6 to 7 bullets of things they could pursue. That's going in front of legal counsel to see if that's okay. I think I'm probably the one on the CPC that's the most hesitant, because I think there's a strong desire to spend the money on a single property, where I'm like, is that really helping our affordable housing problem? But I also recognize that my charge as a CPC member is different than my opinion as a citizen. And I need to kind of differentiate between those two. So we have a meeting tomorrow night where we'll be voting, or we'll be finding out the outcome of the discussions with Jay Tellerman, and then voting, I believe. And then it will just come down to town meeting. And I think we did discuss maybe not sweeping all the funds over. They do have a specific property in mind. it seems they've been going into executive session. It's somebody who would like to at some point sell their property, from what I gather, to the town for lesser value, but I think they would have a lease and for life, so it was an interesting discussion. If you want to see it from last week's meeting, we think it's recorded. We had a problem with the recording halfway through. But again, like I'm trying to wear my two different hats, on a personal note. I single property purchases, when we're about to tax out a lot of people in our town, I have very mixed feelings on, but again, I got to wear my different hats. So that will be decided on tomorrow. Other than that, there's a couple of things that I think will be included. And again, it will come down to what the citizens think. One involves an old fire engine. And actually there's one involving the cemetery tower that I think we're going to look to push out, because there's just some more there's some more professional analysis they want to get done. So nothing hot for recreation. I just kind of share that for you guys as an update, more for your consideration, probably as the vote draws near.
Cool.
Perfect. Thank you. This is actually an interesting one. So Keith Lavoie grabbed me a few weeks ago, and there was a 2021 self-evaluation that the town did for ADA accessibility. 2021, there was one hanging item for the Trotter track. It's by the gate. It's just an accessibility, some points that were hit on that plan that the town and I think Tim and Keith didn't have a chance to finish up and button up for Tim left. And Keith approached me about maybe trying to tackle it this year. And I said, we'd definitely be interested if it's in the plan and we haven't addressed it. We want to obviously make all of our parks and fields as accessible as we possibly can. And oddly enough, a few days after that, Carla, our town accountant, grabbed me, and we had a grant opportunity through the Office of Economic Development through the state. So we actually applied for a $25,000 grant to work on some of those accessibility issues for the track. Hopefully we'd hear soon. We had to have the money spent by the end of June, so it'd be a pretty tight timeline. But it was the gate grade going down, and then when you go through the double gate to get to the Trotter track on the right, there's like a 2 or 3 inch cliff, I should say, or just make it very accessible. The grade needs to be leveled out. And then if you go straight down the asphalt walkway next to the track, there's some, looks like some roots or some heaving going on. So just addressing some of those accessibility points on that asphalt. So hopefully we'll hear back soon and we'll get that grant, and that's something we can partner with the schools to address that facility to make it a little more accessible. So
I have a quick question on that. I know that we address on the track just in general. I know that a good, citizen trying to do the right thing earlier this winter was taking the snow blower and, clearing it out for people to be able to walk it. But, you pointed out that a snow blower is actually not good for, we need specific equipment for that. And I've noticed, I don't think they've been doing that. I did notice randomly, and I thought this was interesting. I was there for basketball or something that, father and son, it looked like we're shoveling out, of all things, it looked like the long jump, which I thought was interesting. Like,
really?
They're shoveling. So I just thought it was interesting. Like, wow, I guess, I don't know. But I'm like, are shovels an issue? I don't know. I just wanted to mention it because maybe we need to put a sign up if it is an issue to just be like, don't move the snow.
Yeah, they had snow blowing ones. And then I actually saw something. It was actually from the Needham Recreation Department. They had to put a public service announcement for people that were skating on turfs because it was that the water was getting on the turf, and then it was freezing, and then basically it turned into a pond. And they actually had issues with folks skating on their turf. And then if you fell through, obviously, if you got skates on, you're going to cut the turf up. So they had to do a public service announcement. We had a funner conversation with the rec director. She's like, this is not something that I'd ever thought in a million years that I'd be spending a public service on. And
I know our citizens just, I'm sure no one, like, obviously all good intentions, but I wonder if it's worth the investment of a sign of like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think it probably is something yeah, whether that's like a winter sign we put up,
Yeah.
because I think part of the problem is that we also see the professional track runners, like they are out there. They're like, Nike snow blows their tracks or they clear it for their runners. You see that and people think it's okay, but like they get a lot more money than we do to fix their track when they screw it up, right? So then we don't. So I think we
Yeah.
should. And I also think that there's got to be a way for us to reinforce that, like, strollers and bikes and scooters on our track are also really bad for our
And
track.
what about chairs?
No,
don't
like
know.
nothing should be on that
So I
track.
think we
So,
because we all know people. I mean, I'll be the first to admit
Yeah.
I know that I should not put my chair on a track, but if I go to a track in another school and somebody said, I'm like, all right, like
Yeah.
and that happens actually at 9/11 too. So we might need signage for both.
Yeah, we might and I know that there is a sign at the gate, but like quite frankly, I think nobody looks at them. So I don't know if do we put like more signs along
Like
that
a little bit
left
right in the
side
front,
where
like
it's
9/11 when you come in, there should be something right there. And then for the track, same thing, right?
right. Or like more signage because I was going to soccer games there too, cringing as people are like
Yeah.
skateboarding on our track and stuff like that. So I
Uh,
know it is posted at the gate when you walk through, but no, everyone's calling all their crap in and nobody's reading it. So
yeah, so I can at least get the language, and then maybe we can bat it around and then have some drafts for the next month. So that way maybe there's something we
I
reevaluate.
feel like a Karen, totally. I know what this stuff costs.
I did see the snow blower at the track though, and yeah, that was a big no-no. But I'm sure if we talk to the DPW, there's a way that they would be able to do
Oh,
it
that's a good idea.
efficient way. Because I think the seniors and people would like to walk it during the winter, and it does give an option to do it if they need to do it or want to do it.
Well, and you got to remember, like kids are coming in all weekend long for sports and practices and everything. So that option is really nice. I think that's a great idea.
Cool.
Thanks.
I went through last year's agenda from this time last year. We had town meeting spring 2025. Do we need to talk about anything for that? I know this is obviously be a sensitive one. We're going to be helping out the one at the high school, obviously the school vote in May, but the one in April. Do we need to discuss anything for that? That's a pretty straightforward.
I think the only thing, because we have nothing else on there. The only thing I can think of on that is making sure that your revolving fund cap is high enough for you. Because we usually need to reevaluate that every year because especially as you're growing programs, we got to make sure it's high enough for you to manage.
Okay.
And when the warrant's published, we have to make sure there's no transfer of funds that we weren't expecting.
Gotcha.
Jen, just thinking back.
Yeah, I think we took a vote in December to approve that, I think. So yeah,
well, I guess
Brian
to
brought
make
that
sure
to
it
us.
matches anything that we approved.
Fair.
Just thinking back to a few years ago.
It's not the 9/11 one. It's the, hey, all of a sudden there's a budget gap and we're going to take $50,000 from revolving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
That happened
Yes.
That they've tried.
Yes, it did.
Oh. Fair enough.
Yep.
Okay. I will. I'll make sure we're sensitive to that.
They usually publish a draft of it too, soonish. So if not already.
Did Tim usually send the draft to you guys for review, or you just?
Mark Purple usually sends it to all committees, but I don't think I've seen it yet.
They're voting. I think they're voting.
Yeah.
Tonight maybe. Okay.
On the articles.
Okay.
Done.
Cool.
We can work on that. I don't really have a ton. I did put new on there. The NACC 5K. Taylor West, our board of health director, is out, so I've been taking a very active role with that and helping them out for their 5K on May 3rd. So I've been helping them out in Tyler's place while she's out on maternity leave till I think the week before the race, which has been fine. It's just coordinating with police, fire, DPW. Not so bad, but wanting to keep everybody in the loop with that. And we're still collecting on some of our spring field permits. No major red flags or issues between soccer, lacrosse, baseball. We've got the most of those in. I think girls lacrosse is looking for a little bit more time on the line 11 turf, but nothing we can't manage.
I think
amongst-
soccer is trying to work around that too.
Yeah,
John, do you miss negotiating for field time, practice time?
Nope, not at all. I don't.
Weird.
My last-
I
Don,
don't even have to worry about taking my kids to soccer anymore. My daughter drives. She's got her car now. She's gonna be the captain this year. So
congrats.
Awesome.
yeah, but not even. I just show up for games now. That's it. My only
Going
obligation.
into my last season, I have mixed emotions.
Don, so you were the old field scheduler?
So I used to talk to. It used to be Jared Buzan, and so we used to like negotiate and talk through like what could we do. And the spring is always the worst because you've got the lacrosse and you've got soccer, and there's only one 11v11 field, and lacrosse needs the turf, and you know the issue, the way soccer works in Bays, the girls play in the morning and the boys play in the afternoon, and so in the spring we almost would never. We couldn't play our morning games because the lacrosse would have the field in the morning, and then we were like the only town where the girls were playing at like, you know, in the afternoon, and then it was hard to get to my son's game. It was just, no, I don't miss it at all.
Yeah, I will say, girls lacrosse seems like they're getting access to the Algonquin High School for youth lacrosse. So
Nice.
I think it's becoming a little more accessible for youth sports, which is nice. I know youth football.
They should, because lacrosse is Northborough, Southborough, so there's that gives you your inroad to Algonquin.
And it seems like we had a really good meeting with youth football the other week, and it seems like the AD has been a little more receptive for them too. So it seems like there's some channels that are opening up for youth sports, which is nice. Nice to see.
It's only in the best interest of the high school because those kids they move up. They move up to the high school teams, and football, if you don't have anywhere for them to play, there's not going to be football.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
then Choate, the little field is offline this spring, right? Resting.
Right.
Okay.
Choate Littlefield, I can't remember if it's 1 or 2, is going to be offline for this spring. So that'll give for Andrew and DPW. Out of the 2 fields, that's definitely the one that has seen the most use, is in the most need. And then Callander will be offline in the fall of 25.
Great.
And that is it for the agenda, besides the approval of meetings, which we already did for January.
And then, sorry, then there was one other meeting minute the vote we took.
You took the CPA. I think we had voted to do the CPA for Kristen, or you guys did that very brief one.
Yep, I was just looking for what the date was.
2.
Come on.
It's not coming up.
2/11.
There you go.
Yep, February 11th. So we need to approve from. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve meeting minutes from January 28th and February 11th.
Second.
Roll call vote. Hanson, yes.
O'Day, yes.
Dumont, yes.
I was sick January 20th, so I'll abstain.
Sounds good. So we got that. All right. So is there anything else?
Next meeting.
Oh, yes. Look at calendars real quick.
Yeah.
I would suggest, if we can,
Yep.
try and get in later in March to give us a little breathing room before annual town meeting, just in case.
When
Like,
is this is really bad. When is town
There's
meeting? I don't have it in my calendar.
So the special town meeting is ingrained in my memory. That's May 10th.
Yep.
Right.
Uh,
But when's the April one?
It's 21st or 22nd.
Well, the 19th is like Easter weekend, so I don't think it's that.
No,
So,
Then.
oh, it's not on a weekend though, is it?
no, it's
Yeah.
on Thursday night.
I mean, okay, now I need to look it up because 21st is spring break.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. It's the week. I think it's the week after.
The week after, so it'd be the 28th.
Yes. Hold on. I took a picture of it.
Crazy how hard it is to find.
Yeah. I likewise. Where is it?
My goodness, it shouldn't be this hard to find.
Wait
No,
a second. Monday, April 7th
is
Got
that?
it.
I thought it was
at
later.
6:30. No, no.
That's what I got.
Oh, all right.
So yeah,
Okay.
I just like again, we should not have anything, but I think it'd be in our best interest to have a meeting to just review the warrant and make sure there isn't anything that recreation might want to have a position on.
Okay. Do you want to like Monday, March 31st or Tuesday, April 1st?
I am around both.
Me too.
That's fine with me.
I can do both.
I have no preference.
I don't either.
You want to keep it on Tuesday, just because
Sure, so we don't forget. Okay, so Tuesday, April 1st at 7:00.
Yeah, one thing before we adjourn. John, do you remember just talking about dog parks? Do you remember any of the details or like the address or whatever of that property Sam used to talk about behind Southborough House for a park?
I don't remember the address. It's owned by the rail company, right? CSX, I think.
It was. I've been looking. I'm trying to find something on it, and I haven't been able to find it. But
It's a locked parcel, right? So it's right behind the Knights of Columbus building.
what's the ad? I mean, I'll explore anything at this point for dog park.
Oh, I don't know if it would. I don't think it would work for a dog park.
you don't.
No, I think it's too small,
Oh, okay.
and there's no parking at all on Main Street,
Yeah.
and there's no way it would ever qualify for mixed use under the current conditions. I'm just totally kidding.
We just like dirty lots. All right, so scratch that one.
And I think they were I think there was some conversation about that lot anyway for something else still. They're still negotiating with the train railway or whatever. Like I who even knows?
Alrighty.
And Don, I still owe you an answer. We still owe you an answer on Fayetteville too, looking at that as a dog park option.
Oh yeah, I'm not even sure that becomes viable if we can't use Lundblad anymore. Because I was thinking like even if you wanted to do T-ball, you could do T-ball at Lundblad, but I wasn't even sure if the footprint was big enough at Fayetteville. I was just spitballing with you just to see if there was anything.
Yeah.
Anything the town already owned, because that's probably the biggest issue, Kristen. Like we can't spend the money if we can't get approved for the money if we don't own land. And so you need something where you have control of the land. And so that really, it really narrows it down.
So we can continue this to next meeting. I'm just like, feels reserved. Like, are these any properties where they might give us a parcel? I don't know, but discussion for next time.
Yeah. Oh, can I share one more update on? I don't want to go out of whack, and I'm sorry. This is kind of got the wheels turning. One more dog park update because we can never talk about enough dog park stuff. The 55 or 50 grand that we got from Capital from a number of years ago for Lundblad for the dog park. I think Carla and Brian would like to see us spend that money in the next year or two. On the radar. I know. Really, if I didn't realize, I thought that was from a year or two ago. It's from 2017.
Yeah, it goes way back.
Because it wasn't initially a dog park fund; it was a field fund.
Field fund. We're accruing interest on that, which apparently is a no-no. So we don't have to make a decision tonight. I think they'd like to see.
So I think that fund might it goes probably hand in hand with us giving like the field over to select board, being like, what do you want to do with it? Because in theory, that money could be used to like do a study or what, like, you know what I mean, go towards fixing it.
Yeah.
So I'd rather not like turn it over yet while it's still active conversation about what do we do with the thing. But
Yeah.
maybe we should make sure we document that in the document back to select board that like these funds are here attached to this field.
Perfect.
So
And I also, again, let's add it to the next agenda, because there's a part of me that's like, God, there's so much open land in this town, whether it's town owned or
There's
trust
not
owned
that
or
much
family owned,
open.
that there's
Yeah.
not something we can't find.
There's not that much open land in this town.
Well,
That's not
personally owned, there
Also,
is.
that's
I
not
mean-
that's not a wetland that
Yeah.
doesn't have, that has sufficient parking and accessibility that like we've looked at the maps, like there's
But are you
the
thinking about personally owned property?
personally
So-
owned property.
well,
No, we looked at town because we
Not
need to.
Well, I
private
know.
owned,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, do we need to think outside the box? Like,
Yeah,
there's some people that own huge parcels of land around this town.
but I
and
guess,
maybe,
I mean, like at this point though, Kristen, like the grant's no longer on the table. There's
Yeah.
no way we could pull anything off that fast.
yeah.
So,
CPA is still an option though. Like if that's a resource we're not going to hit up.
down the line, yeah,
it was
should be.
we had a free dog park.
Yep.
And in order to have a free dog park, you needed to have town land.
Yep.
And we don't have the only town land that I like, that's why I was like Fayetteville, who knows? But like outside of that, you got nothing. And so then now it's not free dog park anymore. It's, you're gonna have to make a case and you're gonna have to do CP, you're gonna have to do this. So like, if, once we've sort of thrown up our hands and we've said we're done with the free dog park, then yeah, we can open it back up again.
yeah, yeah.
But like, as
Yeah.
far as like, the free dog park, if we don't have something that's town titled land, they won't even entertain the grant request, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And did we take off the plate, because I missed last meeting, and I think we'd thrown this around on email, that when you're pulling in to Neary and then you round the corner to go up to Trotter, that field that we really don't use to the right, is that too near wetlands or whatever?
No, not necessarily, but I think there's conversations about whether or not you could get like other sports on that space if we needed it.
But we've never. So, okay.
I know,
Conversation
but like
next time.
no Lundblad, no, like we're not sure what's going on with Neary, like stuff like that is still up in the air. But
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We did a lot of exploratory between conservation. We looked at Atwood, that property at Atwood, the old water tower.
Yep.
We looked at developers that had dog parks built in their properties. We looked at the transfer station, behind the transfer station. I tried to lift up any rock and leave no stone unturned.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
we went through like the register of like all
Yep.
the land owned by
Yeah,
open
and I'm
land.
sorry, I don't mean to like question
No, it's
your
okay.
effort
No,
at
I mean it's a fair
all.
question though. We
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
We did. We tried like everything.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point. Paul Sabelli pulled town-owned properties that you could use.
Yeah.
Got that, and there was one in a neighborhood, and I'm blanking on the name of the road, but it really wasn't that big of a property.
and it wasn't cleared because like I even did a drive-by being like, could we stick it here and maybe make some neighbors unhappy? But like it was a wooded lot. We'd have to clear it. So
Liberty, we looked at Liberty, but that's got a deed issue apparently. It's a grass.
And Ferris's properties are off the plate.
Yep.
All the stuff he's developing.
Yeah, there was an easement issue with, I think, that property that had a dog park in it, but then they had to pull it out. Yeah, so
because of open space. Yep. Yeah, we even went. Yeah, Travis met with the developers to see like,
No,
hey, if
and
we
that's
could
just
get this
it. I'm
funded,
sorry, I
would you put it in?
You know, I don't question it.
No,
I'm
no,
grasping-
no, it's
I'm
fair.
grasping at straws.
Yeah, yeah,
we're just updating you with the stuff that we have done.
yeah.
I
No, I appreciate it.
I don't want to close the door on it either down the line. Maybe something will open up, like property wise.
Yeah.
Because you can
Oh, everybody's waiting for Capassos. What the heck's going to happen with that land?
still, the feedback that you guys collected when you guys did the initial one is still very valuable. Like it's
Yeah.
there was over 100 responses with the resounding yes for a dog park. So I think you can still use that.
Yeah.
Just a matter of where now.
And it's in the master plan too. So like it's on everyone's radar.
Okay, sorry to get us off track.
No, likewise. I did the same thing.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Alrighty. So I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:09.
Second,
Roll call vote. Hanson, yes.
O'Day, yes.
we'll vote yes.
Dumont, yes.
All right. We'll see you guys on April 1st.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.